Joe Biden is a vote for President Kamala Harris. For the sake of our nation, we have to go with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period.
Well, welcome back to the race weekend. What about Nikki Haley? I know she hasn't been a presidential candidate in a while, and she is publicly endorsing Donald Trump. But what about her supporters? Are they on Team Trump, or are they up for grabs? After all, in Pennsylvania, over 150,000 people voted for Haley, over 110,000 in Arizona. In Wisconsin, she received more than 76,000 votes. And these votes took place after Haley was largely considered out of the race or not a serious contender. Joining us now from our Scripps News studios in Milwaukee is Craig Peterson, a veteran Republican strategist in Wisconsin, who's now with Haley voters for Harris. Craig, thanks for coming on the race weekend.
Thank you, Joe, for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I got to start here. I mean, Haley is pretty clear at that bite. I mean, she wants her supporters to vote for Donald Trump.
Yes.
So what are you doing? And are you seeing any real impact on the 2024 race in Wisconsin?
Well, I do. When you look at the Haley voters, and it's not just the 77,000 that voted for Haley. In Wisconsin here, we had an additional 30,000 that voted for Chris Christie and the other candidates. And they had all withdrawn by that time, too. So what we're looking at is over 100,000 voters who essentially had voted in protest of Donald Trump. So many of them are also what we call double haters. So at the time, they may have been folks who disliked Donald Trump and disliked Joe Biden. So I think there's an excellent opportunity to make the case to those double haters that Vice President Harris is a different candidate and is much more mainstream, much more centrist, and deserves our vote, and is a much better choice over Donald Trump.
Well, your efforts have rattled those in the Haley world. Nikki Haley herself, a cease and desist letter has been sent. In fact, we can pull off a statement that Haley recently gave to Fox News and the digital reporters there. Kamala Harris and I are total opposites on every issue. Any attempt to use my name to support her or her agenda is deceptive and wrong. Kamala Harris and I are total opposites on every issue. So clearly, this is something that Haley doesn't want you to do, and yet you aren't doing it. How do you respond to this?
Well, in no way are we indicating that Haley is endorsing Vice President Harris. So I just want to make that clear. However, I believe it's perfectly all right for us to identify and to communicate with her voters. Again, because many of her voters had voted for her and voted for the others as a protest vote. So those voters may not necessarily be committed to her and may not exactly follow in her footsteps.
Well, let's talk about your efforts and how serious this is, because it's easy to send a press release, right? It's easy to come on a TV show and talk about this, but
yes.
How big is your operation that you're trying to lead in Wisconsin, Craig? Are you knocking on doors? Are you raising enough money to produce television commercials?
Well, we're going to have some sort of ground game, but we're going to focus mainly on digital, direct mail. But whether we'll be using television, that's still undecided. We want to use whatever is the most cost-effective and the most efficient means of reaching those 100,000 voters. If you were to use television, that would be using like a shotgun when you need a rifle, or even a small bore rifle, because there's so few of them. But we are able to target them. That's the nice thing, is that through voter lists, we can tell by wards exactly how many Haley voters or protest votes there were in the wards throughout the state. And we can see where they're condensed. Many of them are within what we call the wild counties here. There's a ring of suburbs and suburban counties around Milwaukee County. And a huge audience in those counties is college-educated females. And we believe that many of the Haley voters and the Christie voters and the other voters were those college-educated females who didn't feel comfortable with Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And they should feel perfectly comfortable voting and supporting Vice President Kamala Harris.
Sir, are you in contact with the Harris campaign at all? Are they secretly funding your efforts in any way?
No. We cannot be. We're a super PAC, and they are the candidates' campaign committee. So there can be no discussions. There can be no dialogue between our two efforts. Nor is there any connection between fundraising between the two efforts.
Craig, Peterson leading what could be a very consequential campaign in battleground Wisconsin. We'll check in on you throughout the next 50 days or so to see how it goes. Please send us any updates on what you're seeing on the ground. Still ahead on the race weekend, Tuesday